Well, howdy y'all. Oh, I've been here too long, haven't I? Right. We're on our way to Butte today, which is the other side of the Continental Divide, apparently. I have been there before, but we're going to go and visit the mining museum and other mining sort of bits and bobs. Being a Cornishman, that's very close to my heart. Butte is a big mining area, and a lot of Cornish people went there, including my grandfather's uncle. So we'll be going to Butte, see if we can find any information about him, and also a friend of mine's great-grandfather who also went to Butte. See if we can find a little bit of information about him as well. So I'll bring you back in a while. If I see anything interesting, I shall put this camera on the dash and show you. Right, catch you in a bit. Well, that's it. We've just crossed the Continental Divide. And we can see the town of Butte in front of us. We're just heading down the, what's the name of the pass?
Homestake Pass.
Homestake Pass. Mountains everywhere still. Lovely. Right. I'll just give you a quick view of Butte from up here. I suppose for 1 minute this camera picked that up, but there you go. Right, catch you in a bit. So here we are at the mining memorial, with the flags of all the nations that mined here. The proudest of all the flags. Although it could do with a lick of paint. Butte's first miners, Cornish. So behind me is the town of Butte, nestled in the mountains. So this is where my grandfather's uncle came, way back in 1907. He left Cornwall, got on the Adriatic at Southampton, and never returned. Nobody ever heard from him again. My grandfather's almost 100 years old now, or he is 100 years old, and never met his uncle. His uncle, from what I've found out so far, his uncle came here, mined, joined the American Army, fought in the First World War in Europe, still never returned home, and then came back here and mined some more. A very hard life mining in this place. In 1917 there was a serious accident here where 168, I believe it was, miners died in a fire which they tried to put out with, which they tried to help the miners get out of with fans to blow the fire away from them, and then when they put water on it, the water turned to steam, and basically 168 miners boiled alive. It's a horrible way to go. But yeah, Butte. I'd like to say it was a lovely place, but if you've ever been to Camborne or red ruth in Cornwall. They're very similar apart from the mountains and the snow. Typical mining town, I'd say. Typical mining town. One of the mines is just down here. Absolutely huge excavation. Massive. Can't even see the bottom of it from here. This is open cast mining. They did go underground for the copper. Second biggest copper place in the world at one time. Second only to South Africa. It says here 2,500 men lost their lives between 1870 and 1983 here. Hard life. In 1920, the unions decided to strike. They wanted an 8-hour day, better pay, and the blacklisting of miners taken off. And they barricaded one of the streets in town, stopped all the mines actually from working in the town, and the local sheriff deputised some mine guards, and they came down and they opened fire on the striking miners. One man was killed and 16 others were shot in the back. So I think that really shows exactly what happened there. Right, I think we'll be moving onward. We're going to try and find the museum, which seems to be hidden in the town somewhere. Well, we started off at the mining museum. We were thinking we were going to the mining museum, which, yeah, we seem to have ended up in a John Wayne movie. There's a whole town. I mean, it is literally a town as well. A whole town with old-fashioned houses, and they've got a scarecrow competition. And to say the scarecrows are a little bit scary is to say the least. I will take you up past a couple. This is the Undertakers, apparently. So we've got the superintendent's home. I mean, look at this. If that isn't one of the scariest things, I'd hate to walk around here in the evening. Right. I don't know what any of this has got to do with mining, but onward. Early roller coaster. Don't fancy riding around in that thing, that's for sure. Good God Almighty. Do with a lick of paint too. As Faye just said, and you probably just heard, this is something a bit different. We've got an old Fordson tractor here, which is absolutely cracking little thing. But this, it's a Fordson tractor with screws on it for going through the snow. An early snowmobile. Brilliant. Well, one thing we can be sure of is that my grandfather's uncle didn't die in an accident in any of the pits. The names of everybody who died in the pits are on the walls here, on both sides of each wall, and his name doesn't appear, so least I can go back and tell him that he didn't die in an accident here. Catch you in a bit. Catholic Church used to serve the Italian community in the area. 1921. So not quite as ancient as the things we get in the UK, but sort of reminds me of the Methodist churches back home in Cornwall. It's not sort of fancy like an Italian church, or a Catholic church usually is. There isn't a lot going on in it. There's a statue of Christ and Our Lady, and a few other bits and bobs, but it's not all stained glass and fancy statuary. It's very much more like a Methodist church. Very much more like it. Anyway, onward. Well, we've googled pasty shop in Butte, and we found another one other than Joe's. So we're off to see Nancy and her pasties. Let's just hope they are better than Joe's.
Sharp right onto Pine Street.
Right. Catch you in a bit when I've got a pasty. Faye just said this could be interesting. She could be right. Right. Wish us luck. I think we're going to need it.
I think so too.
Well, Nancy's pasty shop. I survived. In fact, I can safely say it's the best pasties in Montana. So if you're in Butte, Montana, Nancy's pasty shop is the one to come to. Proper job. Right. Onward.
Onward.
Look at that. My Oppo's got the words going too. Right. Well, there's an old saying that anywhere there's a hole in the ground, there's a Cornishman at the bottom. Somewhere in Butte, Montana, there's a hole in the ground with a Cornishman at the bottom who's related to me. Sadly, having spent a very large part of the day here, we've been unable to find anything other than the fact that he wasn't killed in a mining accident. So I suppose that is one small victory. We've just been to the address that my friend's great-grandfather owned a store, and sadly that's been demolished and is now a business park. So I suppose that's progress for you. So we're going to head out of Butte now and go and find something. I don't know what. I mean, there's not a lot around here. It's not like there's any mountains or valleys or canyons or pretty roads to drive along or anything like that. So catch you later. Well, according to the guidebook, this is where Lewis and Clark had their breakfast in July in 1805. And a very nice spot it seems to be too for breakfast. Luckily for them, there were some picnic benches. So yeah, they were very lucky to actually find this spot just off the highway with the picnic benches. Very lucky. So according to the storyboard over there, this just here is the exact point where the Gallatin and the Jefferson rivers meet. Where we were just earlier is where the Jefferson, Gallatin and Madison was where the Madison River met it, and that is where the river actually then becomes the Missouri. And according to what Faye's just read, if you were to get into onto a rubber ring, it would take you 2.5 months to reach the Gulf of Mexico. I don't think I'll be trying that. But what a glorious spot. Just saying, it'd be lovely to walk along that little range of mountains just over there. It's a bit like Dartmoor, or it looks a little bit like Dartmoor. And then we've got huge ranges of Tobacco Mountains over there, and the Gallatin Mountains over there, and
Tobacco Root.
Tobacco Root, yeah. What else was it? Tobacco Root,
Gallatin,
and the Ooh Mountains.
And the Madison Range.
And the Madison Range, yeah. That's it. That's it. We should have got that, being as it's the Madison River. So it was the Ooh Madison Range, the Tobacco Root Mountains, and the Gallatin Mountains just over there. Big snow-capped peaks, beautiful. Yeah, this is a lovely spot. It's been a good day. Going over to Butte again.